Breaking news for you now. A jury has reached a verdict in the case trial against former Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School officer Scot Peterson.
You see him there collapse in emotion as he just heard the verdict. Peterson is alleged to have stayed outside during the 2018 shooting at the Parkland, Florida high school. The 60-year-old pleaded not guilty to 11 counts, including 7 felony counts of child neglect. Up to this point, he's been found not guilty. Let's continue to listen to the remainder of the verdict.
June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict. Count 7. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict. Count 8. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict. Count 9. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict. Count 10. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict. Count 11. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to address you only by the numbers that are on the back of your badges. Juror number 1, are these your true verdicts?
Yes, they are.
Juror number 2, are these your true verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 4, are these your true verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 5, are these your true verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 6, are these your true verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 7, are these your true verdicts?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to each of you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to again give you my sincere thanks for your time, effort, and energy. 99% of the citizens that live in Broward County, a county of 2 million, have no idea what happens when you're actually selected on a jury and you actually serve through the process. But now you all know. And I know most people don't say thank you, but I will say thank you because I know the time, effort, and energy that went into this. I have a thank you letter and a certificate. I'm going to give that to the court deputy who's going to pass that out when they walk you out because it has your names on them. The reason I normally do this in person in the courtroom, but I'm not going to do it today, is because I'm not and have not addressed you by your names. That's why we use the numbers in care of your privacy. I did also want to let you all know I will be entering an order today that instructs the clerk of court, the trial court administrator, as well as both parties not to disclose your names, okay? So the only way your names are going to be disclosed is if you choose, and you certainly may choose. So if you want to go out there and talk to whoever you want to talk to, you're perfectly entitled to do that. If you want to go out there and never talk to another human being about this ever again, you're perfectly entitled to do that too. I want to emphasize that it's each of your decisions to make. But momentarily, I'm going to have you step in the back and collect your belongings. The court deputies are going to walk you out to your cars, and that's going to conclude your jury service. I do have 2 quick pieces of bad news for you. Number 1, I'm going to need those lanyards back. So if you take them off and just put them on the ledge in front of you, we'll collect them from you. Number 2, since you actually did serve on a jury, they will not summon you for jury duty for a year, for 12 months. So I'll see you next year. Okay. All right, and unless you all have any questions for me, ladies and gentlemen, your jury service is concluded at this point. Again, with my great thanks for your time, effort, and energy, Madam Court Deputy, there are certificates for each. Your jury service is concluded and you are dismissed. Thank you very much.
Not guilty on all counts. The jury finds Parkland officer Scot Peterson, who was accused of multiple counts of child endangerment, neglect, for not going into Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School as the school's only armed resource officer. He has been found not guilty. Joining us now is CBS News correspondent Manuel Bojorquez. Manuel, tell us, how did the jury come to this conclusion?
Well, one of the key questions for the jury, a legal question at the heart of all of this, is can a school resource officer be considered a caregiver? So someone who would have to be responsible for the welfare of a child, such as a parent or a custodian. Let's talk about the counts here. 7 counts of felony child neglect. In order to get a guilty verdict on those, you would have to assume or come to the conclusion that he indeed was a caregiver under the law. And it appears that they could not come to that conclusion in this case. There were 3 counts of culpable negligence, also not guilty on those, and 1 count of perjury. The prosecutors had alleged that he had essentially lied to investigators about how many gunshots he heard. Keep in mind, he was the school resource officer. He was at the school when the shooting happened. But the defense had said, look, there was so much commotion. There were echoes coming from the shooting, from the gunfire, and he really had no idea which way to go. But the prosecution had said, had he listened to his training, he would have known to continue to investigate where the shooting was coming from, and that he may have, in doing that, saved some lives. We'll never know. It's interesting to note that the 10 counts of felony child neglect, the 7 of those plus the 3 of culpable negligence were for the number of victims that were on the 3rd floor. Some fatalities, some were just injured, but that's where that number comes from. Essentially, the prosecution was trying to prove that had he tried to engage the shooter at any point, maybe the shooter would not have made it to the 3rd floor to be able to carry out the massacre up there. But in the end, the defense here proving that Scot Peterson was not guilty of felony child neglect or culpable negligence or perjury. You saw him get very emotional. The relief of many years of living with all of this just coming out. As you might imagine, the families that have been sitting through this trial, family of the victims of the Parkland shooting, will not be pleased by this verdict. Many of them had said that, this was somebody that they relied on at the school to protect their children, and that he obviously failed to do that day in their view.
And Manny, as you speak, we're seeing just more footage of Mr. Peterson there. I mean, as soon as they said not guilty to the first count, he just leaned over, started crying. His hands were shaking. This incident 5 years ago, and since then, his team anyway, his legal team, says that he's been made a scapegoat by the Broward County Sheriff's Office because, as you point out, the shooting, we understand, only took about 7 minutes. He was the only school resource officer there who was armed, able to intervene, but decided not to because he didn't know where the shots were coming from. Right, he says it may have been multiple shooters, and so you can just imagine the pressure he has felt since. He could have faced, 96 years in prison if found guilty on all counts. So massive relief for him. What have relatives of victims said, though, during this trial? How are they likely to react, considering that, 17 people did die that day and 17 were wounded?
Yeah, they clearly will not be pleased by the verdict. Many of them had said, of course, as we've mentioned, that they felt that he, being an armed officer on campus, had the best ability to try to go into the building and stop the shooter. But as you noted in their surveillance video showing that for more than 40 minutes, he did not do that. I also want to point out that I do get a sense that the jury really took this case and their deliberations seriously. They got the case on Monday, deliberated for a few hours that day, but this will now be day 4 of deliberations. They had a few questions along the way. But part of the reason I think they really took this decision to heart is that the case was unprecedented. The first one believed to have put a law enforcement officer on trial for their actions during a mass shooting. So there may have been a sense, look, if we don't get this right, it could have implications for law enforcement down the road. Right. You think about the Uvalde shooting, you think about cases like that, this could definitely have set some precedent. In this case, they decided that there maybe wasn't enough evidence here. Also interesting to note that the defendant, Scot Peterson, had the ability to speak for himself. He said that he did want to tell the jurors his side of the story, but he listened to his attorney's advice and in the end did not testify during the trial.
Manny, this was a criminal trial. Oftentimes, these types of trials are then followed by civil trials. Do we know what the status is on that front?
Not at this point. At this point, all the focus has been on the criminal case. You know, there could be at some point some civil liability. I've not seen that just yet. Seems like at this point, with the shooter as well, they've been trying to get all the criminal aspects out of the way. And keep in mind that every time that these cases come up, every time there's coverage of these cases, for many of the families, it just reopens that wound all over again. So they may be displeased by the verdict, but may be happy that this chapter is over on some level. And
Manny, you mentioned the implications this ruling could have on similar cases where a number of legal or you know, police groups show up on a scene and they kind of blame each other as far as inaction. You mentioned Uvalde, for example. We wonder how this decision will impact those other investigations, because for Scot Peterson, he's 60 years old. He could have lost his $104,000 annual pension if found guilty. That's not happening. What do you think may be the consequence of this ruling for the country?
Well, that remains to be seen. You keep thinking about Uvalde, right, where those deputies there were seen outside of the classroom for quite some time while the shooter was still in there. It may require prosecutors to maybe think twice before they bring these types of charges on officers when it comes to their responses to some of these mass shootings. At the very end of the day, I think what you're seeing is a lot of police departments and sheriff's offices really revisiting their training and just trying to drill into their officers. This is how you react to these situations, and keep in mind that maybe you won't be found criminally liable for not doing more, but the public aspect of all of this, right? I mean, that will live on. Yeah. There will always be people in this community who, despite the not guilty verdicts today, many have called him a coward. I don't think that their perception, if you believe that, is going to change. But he does get to keep his $104,000 a year pension. He was suspended from the job. He doesn't have that job anymore, and you can imagine the pressure on him was rather intense, so much so that he decided to move out of the state as well. So he's living somewhere else at the time.
Of course, for those families, we saw it looked like some of them in the courtroom as that jury's decision was read aloud by the judge. Some of them shaking their head. Of course, it's worth remembering all the pain that those families of the 17 killed and 17 others wounded are experiencing right now. So we want to thank you, Manny, and bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, this was sort of a precedent-setting legal argument that was being made about the school resource officer and his obligation to these students. What do you make of the verdict?
Well, I think it was a repudiation of the prosecution's theory here. Again, a theory where they tried to use a statute that is typically used for guardians and essentially expand that out to this officer to say that you owed those duties to the children who were being shot at, just as a guardian owes certain duties to their children. And what the prosecution, I think, really successfully argued was, one, you couldn't expand the scope of that statute, but two, I think there was enough testimony there that it was not clear that he knew exactly where the shots were coming from and exactly where he should be going. And that's what you need for a criminal case. You need reasonable doubt that he, in fact, did fail to adhere to his legal duties.
And Jessica, did this ruling by the jury surprise you at all? So
whenever it comes to a case of first impression, I think it's difficult to say if you were surprised. I will say, I think we should separate out two things, which is it surprising that a jury wasn't willing to kind of adhere to this new theory by the prosecution that, in fact, what he did amounts to criminal negligence? Probably not, but this isn't an endorsement of his activities. As you just heard, he is still subject to hate, to ridicule. He has moved. So I do just want us to separate in our minds a jury saying what he did, or in this case, failed to do, was not enough for criminal negligence. That's in no way an endorsement of his behavior. And again, those are two very different things here.
All right, Jessica Levinson, thank you very much. And Manuel Bojorquez there outside the courtroom as Scot Peterson found not guilty of all charges related to the Parkland school shooting. Thank you.